All right. Welcome, everyone, to the Rink Rat Report Podcast. Recording this one after the Ottawa Senators thumping of the Toronto Maple Leafs 7-3. Well, it wasn't really a thumping, but we'll get into that. As always, joined by Jason in this one.
How's it going, guys? Yeah, I think thumping is a fair word. Odd week where it
It was an
was.
odd game, odd week,
Yeah.
odd game. Like, this was. I don't even know what the fuck to think about this week. What the hell? What is happening this season with this team? Oh my god!
I don't know. A lot of up, a lot of down. Just like ping pong, it feels like it's still early though. I don't want to like. It's still very very early. We're still only 12. Was it 13 games in this season now? This is game 13.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, 13.
Still feels early. I think
Mm-hmm.
there's some positive things that we're going to talk about. There's some negative things, obviously, that we're going to talk about. But I think it's important to look at the positive things and look at the negative things. I think the negative things can be fixed, and I think the positive things are like repeatable, good outcomes that like are not like fluke. Like all I'm trying to say is like the good things. It's like not like we're winning games just based on an inflated like on ice shooting percentage, like certain teams out west in Vancouver. Like it's like our offense looks good. So, like, anyways, we'll get into that stuff later.
But a team out west. I wonder which one it is. Oh, it's in Vancouver too. I wonder which team he's talking about there.
But yeah,
you're being way too positive. This was. It's still more brain farts, but like it's not. To me, this week wasn't like the rest, where it was a guy. Actually, a guy did fall over, but he did a lot more than fall over.
Klingberg, it's like, that ice, man.
Fell over, like flubbed off of his stick and ended up on the other team back of the net. Like just a bad decision here that's uncharacteristic, whatever. Like this week to me, it was just like the defensively was awful. I tried to calculate it, but like it was honestly dishonest data, I'd call it, if I tried to. But this week I could just say it. I didn't have to calculate it. This week, the amount of times that the opposing team scored right after the Toronto Maple Leafs scored was way too much. It happened way too much specifically against Buffalo. It happened way too much specifically tonight against Ottawa. Like there are defensive issues on this team, and it's not just the defensemen who are awful, but like the fourth line is unplayable.
Let's just get into these past couple of games that you're talking about here. Like, sorry, I want to first of all touch. Disaster. No, you're good. You're good. No, because this is exactly the area that we want to tread right into, right? And you're hitting the nail on the head here with the goals after we scored. And I'm sorry, like, yeah, it's bad defensively, but there's only one person to blame for this. It's Sheldon Keefe. We're home ice against Buffalo. We have last change. They're throwing out their first line, their second line. Why in God's name, after we just scored, are we throwing out our fourth line twice to get scored on twice, literally directly after a goal? That is bad coaching. Straight up, that is bad coaching. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care if you want to get the fourth line a shift. Get him a shift on the fly. Don't get him a shift against the other team's best line, against a team that has like a decently electric top six in the Buffalo Sabres, who can score, who are good offensively, who can generate off the rush, who are quick. And that fourth line is not quick. But
it's also on top of that.
Yeah.
The fourth line going out there at the same time as John Klingberg is ECHL level hockey.
It's
disgusting. It's malpractice is what it is. I have to look into it, but the amount of times that they've been scored on when that combination is on the ice is just inexcusable at this point. Like they're running around with their heads cut off. I remember Florida, it was the same thing. It was, but the big thing and the most glaring thing about the fourth line is your $2.4 million center is the one making mistakes in this situation, in these situations. Him and John Klingberg, who makes 4.1. It's not Noah Gregor. It's whenever Noah Gregor actually is last man back, because why would Noah Gregor be last man back or spotting for a D-man? Because John Klingberg goes on a cowboy run, and then it's David Kampf going, well, I play center, so I'm going to sit in my center spot. It's like, no. Noah Gregor is center in this situation. He's on the puck. You need to get to the wing, which he doesn't, and it ends up in the back of the net. Anyways, what were we going to get into? I'm so frustrated right now.
We basically touched on everything we're going to get into off the top, just the good, the bad, what we're missing, and if it's panic time. But yeah, like I think we just need to stick with these games here. And I want to touch on something that you brought up right there. And you mentioned Ryan Reeves. So when Ryan Reeves and Klingberg on the ice, feels like more goals
minus nine in 13 games, playing less than 8 minutes a night.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good for
the
Ryan
issue
Reeves
is when like a lot of these plays, you go, oh well, like he didn't make the defensive mistake on this play here. He didn't, like, it wasn't his fault defensively that this player got behind him, whatever. Like there was a goal I remember, Noah Gregor broke his stick, he went to the bench, and then it left open a hole, and there was a whole defensive catastrophe. I don't know if this was this week or last week, whatever. But it's the fact, like, the reason that all these defensive mistakes keep coming up is because Ryan Reeves can't hold the puck in the offensive zone. He's a black hole. And when he's back checking, he's slow as hell and he looks insanely tired. And that's where you start to get chances going the other way. And then that's where defensive breakdowns occur. Listen, like when you break down a goal in its hole, and it's, oh, this player didn't go here, this player didn't do X, this player was taking over for this player, so they should have been doing this, right? You also have to look at the fact that why are they in that scenario in the first place? Like if you're relying on a winger to play D, a winger's never going to play defense to the level that a defenseman does. And we learned that very clearly last year from watching Mitch Marner playing defense, right? You remember Nico Hischier putting him in a blender, putting him in the washing machine, right? So you have to look at that too. Ryan Reeves not having the puck ever is allowing for the puck to come out of the offensive zone into the defensive zone and allowing for more defensive mistakes. Now, that's not a pass on David Kampf. He's been fucking terrible too. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, no, they've both been bad, and the fourth line has been bad. And you know what? Maybe that was a blind spot for us in us thinking that like David Kampf was good away from, like, there was clear data indicating that David Kampf really only worked on the Leafs when he was playing with
Pierre Engvall.
Oh my goodness. Say that again. Sorry. Pierre Engvall. Thank you. Yes. Pierre Engvall on the wing last year. And I kind of ignored that data. Maybe I was wrong. Like maybe those people were right. Who knows? Like he definitely doesn't look good. You'd think that someone like Noah Gregor, who can, I don't want to say like replicate Pierre, but like kind of the similar, he's like a speed guy who can transition, I guess. Like that's it. So
that's it. I have a problem with people putting him up in the lineup. What does he do other than skate fast forward?
Nothing. No, he's like the perfect.
That's fine. That's fine.
He's the perfect fourth line player.
On your fourth line.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Throw some hits, skate really fast forward, skate with the puck out, occasionally generate a chance by causing a strip. Outside of that, though, he has no offensive ability. He has zero finishing ability. He has zero passing ability. He's a fourth liner with good speed. If you put him up into the third line, he's just going to still be that, a fourth liner with speed. He's not the issue, even though he's, I don't know, he's been whatever. He's been fine. 7 league min. Why not? Paying someone almost twice the amount of him that is not doing anything.
Yeah, no,
other than trying to fight with 5 minutes left in a game. That was pathetic.
All right. Enough about the fourth line. Let's move off the fourth line. Let's because I guess that kind of encapsulates our problem and our issues with like I guess we'll also talk about our problem and the issues with the Buffalo game and the Senators game. I want to touch on like some positive things from the Bruins and the Lightning game. Like, I feel like we played really well in the Lightning game after that. Like,
before we get into positives, one thing, John Klingberg took 4 fucking shifts in the third period and still got scored on, where he was caught in La La Land. I understand it was a 3-on-2 the other way. The offense was pushing. So that's where you got caught 3 men deep. That happens when you're down a goal late in the third period. What shouldn't really be happening is your defenseman, being caught in between 2 spots and just standing there. He's done that twice this week where, okay, it's not the most ideal defensive scenario. Okay, what's going to happen? He just stands there and he like flinches. What are you doing? Just lie down on the fucking ice. That's way more effective than what you're doing. Anyways.
Yeah, I'm listen, you there's 2 ways to look at this week. We won 2 games and we lost 2 games. Yeah, obviously we won 2 games in overtime, which is not the best thing in the world. But we lost.
Games.
We lost. We lost 2 games.
Lost in overtime.
1-1.
Good comeback effort. Was okay. It was an okay effort. I don't know. 2 goals against that Bruins team was whatever. They had 3D out, but we had 2. So didn't show a lot of character on the Logren play, but we'll get into that. Lost that game. Buffalo scored a lot of goals. Lost that game too. Monday, Tampa Bay almost lost that game. Almost got booed out of the stadium.
That was a fun one.
Found a way to win. And we're on a high note. And we're pushing forward. Let's go. Everyone was trashing Bertuzzi going into this game. Bertuzzi scores in this game, and then they fell flat on their face.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, it's
not a bird.
Like
it's not a plane. It's a ball trimmer set from space. You like that transition?
I like that.
Gentlemen, our friends over at Manscaped have been working night and day to bring you a below-the-waist grooming experience like none other with their brand newer Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. We're talking a next-generation trimmer with interchangeable blade heads for whatever shave your mind can imagine. You can get a mohawk going on down there if you want. Upgrade your grooming game to the Ultrasphere this year by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping with the code RINKRAT. That is RINKRAT. High tech for low places, Manscaped. I love how they upped it. The 4.0 is great, but the 5.0, as they mentioned,
almost like it's a +1 to the 4. But no, actually, okay, quickly before we get into the next little thing we're going to touch on here, like, should you go to jail if you shave your mustache during November? Like, jail? Yes, right?
No.
Yes. Well, I'm trying to find a way to put Arthur Smith into. Anyways,
he shaved his mustache
during
like, November.
Is that not like no, I'm not talking about like trimming. That's fine. Like completely just had it and then just shaved it all off like 6 days in. Weird stuff. Anyways.
6 days in. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Like crazy, like maybe 5 days in.
Craziest thing on November 1st is when like guys, you go full like I cheat. I don't care. Yeah. It just like it shows and accentuates how much like the beard is like makeup for men. Like, because when you get rid of this spot down here, it just makes your nose look that much bigger. And like this upper lip just looks so bare. It looks so weird when a guy like shaves it all off. You look bare. You look like a turtle without a shell.
That's a great way. Like, honestly, that's I was trying to describe how TJ Brody looks without his beard, and that's the best way to put it, or like any facial hair. But yeah, whatever. He's a whatever. Good for him for doing the blower. I'm also trying to do it. I don't know if anyone can notice. Anyways,
sorry.
It's all good. You were asking a question, and I think we were asking it last week, saying if there's some troubles going into this week, we might need to start talking about it. And I think the biggest thing that is it panic time? Are you panicking right now? Is this like, listen, you obviously aren't impressed with the performance.
I wanted to ask you this. I want to hear what you had to say first, because
okay, I'll go first because I don't think so, because I think, and I want to touch on this in a bit, but I think the positive things that are happening are like, it's a season, right? Like, it's not like we do. If you had to, this is not soccer, right? A loss is not as like impactful to us as it is for like a team in the EPL that's trying to become first in the standings, because that's how you win your league choice. It doesn't matter. This team is making the playoffs. You would need a meteor to come out of the sky for this team to not make the playoffs. And people could think I'm crazy, but I watch this team. I see the way that they play. I think this team is beyond capable of making the playoffs and will make the playoffs basically no matter what, unless, again, catastrophic injury occurs where multiple stars get hurt, knock on wood. That's the only way I can see this team not making the playoffs. So that's why I'm not panicking right now. There's also a couple things that I've seen that I'm liking. Like, we're seeing our top 9 potentially clicking. And I'll get into that later, but like, that is such a massive note, because that has been the crux of this team for legitimately the last 6 years, right? Or not the last 6 years, since we lost Nazem Kadri. That's kind of been the crux, is that lack of depth past the second line. That was our crux. On top of that, Our other crux was not good goaltending. Joseph Woll, horrible last night. I'm a Joseph Woll apologist. I'm a Joseph apologist. I tried to make a pun there. It's really bad, but I still think he's good. I'm not going to rake the kid over the coals for one bad game against Ottawa. He didn't play well tonight. Let's be honest. Like, he did not play well tonight. I think that's fair to say. But I think he looks like a good enough goalie to me. And on another note, other than being a Joseph apologist, terrible pun again, I think, like I said, our goaltending, I think Ilya Samsonov, he's done it in the past where he had some really poor stretches last year, but he's turned it around, right? Yeah, again, it's really bad, but we've seen goaltenders flux up and down, right? I'm going to bank on Samsonov kind of coming back up. I'm going to buy the positive. I'm going to be buying the positive regression on Ilya Samsonov.
Yeah.
So to summarize why I'm not panicking, top 9 potentially maybe is sorting out. Goaltending looks better, but our defense looks like absolute dog. So that is something I'm actually starting to maybe worry about. So
the big thing is also with Timothy Liljegren's injury, with regards to the defense, and then I'll get into the goaltending. Timothy Liljegren's injury is a high ankle sprain. From what I've heard from every single person that has ever suffered this injury, it takes a long time to get back to 100%. Even after you're cleared 4 to 6 weeks or whatever it is, you never come back the same. You remember Mitch Marner had a high ankle sprain the year after. I think it was his first year into his contract extension there. It took a while for him to get back to normal and look like Mitch Marner again. I mean, that was probably also other factors involved in that as well, but I think the high ankle sprain did affect him for a long time, and I think it's going to affect Timothy Liljegren for a long time as well. So you got Connor Timmins coming back. Okay, can he play third pair right D? Yes, I don't doubt. Well, coming back from an injury too. How is he going to rebound from that injury? I would probably put him on a conditioning stint first to then be able to assess that. I think that's probably the best, what they're going to be doing. And if they're not, then I'd really ask why, because the conditioning stint is there. You can just use it to see what level he's at. He's been out for a little while. So yeah, in terms of second line right D right now, to me, you don't have one. You cannot rely on Timothy Liljegren to play up to that level that he was at the beginning of the season now. And if he's not at that level, like, was he really an all-world second pair defenseman? No. So could he be a third pair? Maybe after this injury. I don't like this is the people aren't talking enough about that injury. Like, oh, he could just walk back in and be McCabe's partner again. No, it's not the same defenseman. It's a high ankle sprain.
Yeah, high ankle sprain. There's a difference between, like you mentioned, like coming back is not the same as coming back 100%, right? And with high ankle sprains, just like with how much football like I consume and see, like you can see that these guys come back maybe 2 to 4 weeks, right? But they're not themselves until 6, 7, 8, almost sometimes 9 weeks later. Sometimes they don't even look themselves the entire season. They need a full like summer of rehab to bring all the muscles and the surrounding muscles back from like being basically stuck for that long, right? So yeah, that's a big one, because on top of that, like if Timothy Liljegren's not your number 2, what is he to us, right? Like, and do we have time to wait for him? Like, not really, right? So it's either
okay, right? No, like he was playing pretty well before the injury.
It's not, yeah, he's playing well, but it's like if he's not going to be what he was playing at before the season, at what point do we like one that kills his development? He's already 24, right? He's not getting like much younger. He's got it. Like he's shown ability to be a top 4, but if he's not a top 4 yet, like if he's not confirmed in our eyes to be like 100% a quality top 4 defenseman, where does he fit here? And then on top of that, it's like we already have, not that we already have a third pairing right defenseman, but that's like supposed to be Klingberg's role. So it's like we're in a very stuck situation here because listen, obviously I think I'd rather have Liljegren right now than John Klingberg as a third right D, depending on who the second right D is. But there's too many factors going on where it's like we have a hole at 2 right D and neither of them right now looks promising.
I would rather have 50-year-old Paul Coffey right now than John Klingberg, or however old Paul Coffey is. I know. I laid out what Klingberg was in the offseason. I said complete wild card out there, can move the puck really well, skates really well. But I said, like, he's very weak and he's atrocious defensively. You're going to have to play him correctly, right? That's why I said it's not going to be like TJ Brody. It's not going to be like Tyson Barrie, because hopefully we've learned from that, and you're going to put John Klingberg in a more correct role. Well, your second pair right D goes down, and what happens? You have to play him more, and he's been not bad, but an abomination, horrific, horror awful, however you want to put it. He's been dog shit so far. This is a horrible fucking week.
I think the best way to put it is like he's just experienced a comedy of errors. Like, it's just everything that he does
caused the comedy of errors.
Yeah, it's that's like the best way to describe
falling at the wrong time, like just
multiple times. Every
breakout, he picks the wrong side to go to. You're a good skater. Go to where there is space. And every time he tries to turn back into traffic and he loses it every single time. I remember watching, I was rewatching the Tampa game, I think it was, and he got the puck and turned it over 3 times in one shift. Turned it over, was able to get the puck back. Okay, awesome. Turned it over. Got the puck back. Okay, awesome. Turned it over. And with every turnover, it was a better sort of look for Tampa, but they weren't able to get anything done. Just like, I don't get it. Like, dude, just glass and fucking out at that point. After the second one, aren't you just begging for the puck to be off your stick?
Like, I don't know. I honestly don't know what to say. I actually don't know what to say about like John Klingberg. Like,
you can turn to any channel, any podcast tomorrow. They're gonna be talking about John Klingberg.
Oh yeah.
Just how bad he's been.
He just hasn't been good, and that's the best way to put it. And like, I don't know.
The weird part I thought I saw in the Tampa game. Did you notice they started with Riley on PP1 and then switched to Klingberg
during the game?
Yes,
I didn't notice that.
I was like, "What the hell?" All right,
is that punishment? Like,
I don't know what
that's what it is.
What it was. I was like
taking away his ice time for like a second. Yeah, I don't know.
It was before the game started. He had made a mistake. Yeah, good on you.
One thing's for certain. I know analytically the expected goals for numbers per 60 are better last year with Riley on the power play than this year with Klingberg. But I test just tells me that I still think Klingberg's better. Even though, like, listen, I'm not going to say he's good at all at 5-on-5. I still.
What about the goals percentage? Like the number of goals or the goals per 60?
I feel like it's probably up because it feels like our power play is humming way more this year than it was last year. I can check it right now, but I mean, yeah, I don't know.
That's going to impact it, right? If your power play gets cut short because you score a goal, you have less chances to throw empty shots at the net, right?
That's a good point. That's actually a great point. I'll have to look into that more.
But on top of, we didn't mention this mistake. John Klingberg 6-on-5 shot straight into the shin pads.
That was crazy.
It goes back the other way. That was another one. Like, all right, sometimes we complain about Riley not having the best handles, whatever. At least Morgan Riley knows. You are the least important person on the ice there. You get the puck to one of the more important players, and you get the fuck out of the way, and you create some space somehow. John Klingberg hasn't figured that one out yet. Will John Klingberg turn it around? I mean, he's a Swede, and they're wired differently. They're this very laid back people. If he even so much as opens the radio or his phone, I think he's just going to be his confidence is going to be completely torpedoed, and there is no chance in getting him back. But could he turn it around? I mean, you have to play him to his strengths, and that's it, right? Can you do that right now? No, you don't have a second line right defenseman. You actually didn't have a second pairing left defenseman either, but hopefully McCabe's back soon. So, and hopefully they don't put McCabe with Klingberg, but then who are you putting McCabe with?
Yeah, it's a disaster
at this fucking point.
Listen, the only answer right now is that we're going to go look at the Calgary Flames, and we're going to try and pluck as many defensemen from Brad Treliving's old team as we can. So let's get back to the question here. Are you panicked? Is it panic time yet? Are you close to panicking? What's your panic level?
What is my panic level. It's the highest it's been since 2019, 2020. It's at that level. Like it's very, very high.
Like fired coach level of panic.
Kind of, but like I don't know what the coach can do with this roster at this point. The coach didn't sign Ryan Reeves.
That's fair.
Right? The coach didn't extend David Kampf to that level, to that contract, right? The coach didn't injure Jake McCabe. Like right now you have Riley Brody, which is nobody's talking about because everything else is such a mess behind them, but they're playing well.
They were good. Yeah. Right? They've been good. Yeah.
They've been solid.
Yeah.
Together and all like
they finally
I'd like them together. They are really well. Morgan Riley's playing much better hockey this year.
Yeah.
It's insane how we have not pointed out thousands of defensive mistakes from Morgan Riley this season. I mean, Sam Cos mentioned it. I think he theorized that Riley was hurt last year, but even the year before that, he still looked like junk in the defensive zone. But he's been great this year. Brody's been fine. He's been solid. That penalty was in an opportune time, but they've both been solid. It's just behind them. Who's behind them? 40-year-old Mark Giordano, who's playing way more than they would like. John Klingberg, Willie Lagesson, and Simone Benoit.
Yeah, not good. And I will say it looks like this year Morgan Riley's done a lot better job at like his puck. I don't want to say puck tracking, but just like puck lines and using like manipulating his body and other people's bodies to like win puck battles. I think he's done a really good job at that this year. And I wouldn't doubt that's something maybe he worked on in the offseason because it feels like that's like the biggest improvement to his game. Mm-hmm. It's because it feels like we're not seeing those extended zone times anymore because he's not letting them get like set up in the zone, right? He's making sure that they get
off of the entries. We're not seeing him stand at the top of the circles and just like try to do goalie moves or whatever we used to see before. Like I'm noticing a lot less of opposing team zone entries and then prolonged possessions before they even get past the top of the circles, right? Where they're stopping up, they're waiting and making a play from there. I haven't noticed like anything from Riley in that sort of respect, right? So
I think he's done a much better job this year. So kudos to him. But I mentioned coaches being fired. Right now, Sheldon Keefe is 20-1 on DraftKings to win the Jack Adams Award. That's wrong. He should not be 20-1 to win the Jack Adams Award. I don't see a path for him to win the Jack Adams Award at all this year. But if you do want to bet on the Jack Adams Award and you do want to bet on the National Hockey League, the best place to do so is DraftKings Sports Book. Listen, I love to use DraftKings, so you should probably use DraftKings too. The NFL season is going strong, and DraftKings Sportsbook is hooking up new customers with an offer that is even stronger. Bet $5 on any game this week to score $200 instantly in bonus bets. And DraftKings is not stopping there. All customers can take advantage of a sweetener every game day throughout this NFL season. Get in on the game day greatness. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now and use code THPN. That's code THPN. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets when you bet $5 on the NFL. That's $5 on the NFL. That's code THPN. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NEW YORK or text HOPE New York 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. Licensee partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. 21 plus. Age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gambling resources here. So, because we just talked about how we're worried, how we're panicked. Talk about some positive things, because this is an exercise that I like to do.
Before we get into that, the one thing that I do want to point out, sent a message and I was curious to see what he had to say to Jordan Schmaltz. I'm not sure if you remember him. First round pick to the St. Louis Blues in 2012, I believe it was. Former Blues defenseman, Chicago Wolves, Toronto Marlies. Now he's doing media stuff. He has a podcast, and I was asking him, I'm like, is it panic button for the Leafs? He said, no, not yet, but they aren't going anywhere other than maybe the second round with that D-core. They need some heavy bodies back there who defend the net and instill fear into opponents. They don't have any of those types of D currently in their makeup. He said the D and the goalie are issues. The goalie, I mean, I think the goaltending short term is not playing very well, but I think we'll turn it around. I mean, there's somewhat of a track record of Ilya Samsonov. He's just mentally in the worst place possible. And Joseph Woll, I don't know what the hell happened tonight because he made some good saves and then he made 3 horrific mistakes. But I wanted to bring that up because think about it. Like, who's the Leafs? Remember when we brought in, I'm going to backtrack now because I tried to mend 2 thoughts into one. Number one, yes, they don't have a defensive defenseman. They don't really have a Jake Muzzin replacement. They have Jake McCabe, who's a good defensive defenseman. Sure. Is he that physical? Yeah, he's fairly physical. I feel like they could use another one of those, though, to play hopefully top 4, right? So there's that. On top of that, do you remember when Ilya Lyubushkin came in?
Yeah.
It felt like a different feel. They brought in Mark Giordano too, but it was a different feel. Like I feel like the Leafs are giving up a lot of like just shitty chance goals. There's like, off of Alex Tuck's shoulder and in, off this guy's dick and in, whatever, right? Off this guy's dick onto the other team's stick and in. Well, those chances happen less when you're actually able to clear the front of the net. The Leafs are struggling mightily to clear the front of the net right now. So I think it spoke well into what Jordan was saying there. Like, you need more defensive defensemen back there. You just need better defensemen for that fucking matter. But
yeah, all right.
Let's get into the positives.
No, let's skip over the positives and let's stick with that because I wanted to go positives and then what we're missing and what we could acquire. And like, let's just skip over the positive right now.
Let's reverse it. Yeah.
Let's go directly into like what the Leafs should acquire and who the elephant in the room is the Calgary Flames. Like, that is the elephant in the Maple Leafs room right now. And you got to think at some point, like, I don't know if it's disrespectful to reach out to them now, but like,
So the rumor is, according to Elliot Friedman, they've checked in on Zadorov, I believe, who has 1 year left on his contract. Chris Tanev also has 1 year left on his contract. Tanev is a guy that we've spoken of in the past. He's a really good defensive defenseman. He's on the older end, so sure, like, our injury is a bit of a concern, kind of, but yeah, I would say so. Sure. But I think he would be more than a welcome addition. I would like Chris Tanev way more than Zadorov. I think he's way better defensively. I understand what Zadorov brings, like just the fear of God when he just goes to hit you because he's 6'6", but I think his defensive game overall isn't as strong, but I need to look into it more. I will say that. But is Zadorov a decent defenseman still? Yes. I think he's a fine third pairing defenseman. The issue would be if you acquire him to play 20 minutes a night, he's not that. So you're really not improving your team all that much. So Tanev, then Zadorov, sure. Uyghur 1,000%, but I don't think you have the cap space for.
Yeah. And Zadorov looks like at 5-on-5, he roughly averages, oh my God, if I can just zoom in here on this number, he roughly averages around 16, let's call it 16 and a half, 16 and a third minutes at 5-on-5 a game. Doesn't play
penalty
a lot
killing also sucks. That just came to my head. Penalty killing's been atrocious this season.
Yeah, he plays like a minute 30 on the penalty kill too. So like, let's call it like, let's call it 18-ish minutes. He's a defenseman who can play us. You can log 18 minutes for us a game, maybe squeak 20, but I mean, we don't want him to squeak 20. More. I haven't watched much of Nikita Zadorov, but just looking at his underlying numbers, he's actually a sneaky, incredibly good offensive defenseman. That might be the role that he's utilized in, But when he's on the ice, it seems that they're actually creating like that. Maybe that's probably part of the reason why he's a good defensive defenseman. Sorry, not defensive, but like why he doesn't have poor defensive numbers is because it seems that the team generates a ton when he's almost like last year he was like chart-breakingly good offensively. Like his xGAR was literally 14, which is higher than what Morgan Riley's like 3-year xGAR was in his best year. So like obviously not like he's not an offensive defenseman, but
expected goals above replacement, his overall value. I mean, yes,
it's just for some reason good things happen when he's on the ice, and it could just be like you said, like a fear and intimidation factor. Do you think there's anyone like we touched on the 2 guys in Calgary, we touched on Mackenzie Weegar? Are there any defensemen available outside of those guys that like could potentially be of interest at all? Like I'm just trying to think of some teams that are.
I don't know what Parayko's contract is. I've heard maybe his name floated around before, but it seems like they're trying to make a push this year. So I'm not too sure there.
The Blues don't strike me as a team. I know the thing with the Flames is that with what happened to them last year, them kind of being uncertain with so many guys in UFA. They're like kind of a perfect storm right now where they look like they're going to tank, and it's like going to take a lot for them not to. New coach, teams are not responding to. New GM struggling to sign all of their not all of them, but struggling to get guys extended to their team. Like what Lindholm,
Hanifin's not signing, extended. So
Hanifin's not signing. Zadorov, like we mentioned, Tanev, like we mentioned, tons of guys on this Calgary Flames team that I mean are looking like who else? I guess. No, yeah, that's pretty much it. But still, like you got to re-sign Lindholm, you got to re-sign Hanifin, you got to re-sign one of Tanev or Zadorov. Neither of those guys seem like they want to sign. So their entire decor is basically, other than Weegar and Anderson, just not doing it for them. So they're not looking to extend. So that's like the perfect storm. St. Louis, I don't know if they would.
I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, I think honestly it might be too early to tell with like maybe I kind of threw under the bus there with that question because like just thinking about it now it's probably way too early to tell because so many teams feel like they're good, right? Like the Flyers feel like they're good.
Flyers were 3-1, and I saw that big head hockey account being like, "Wow, Torts has got those players playing hard, and now they're 5-6." So it's like, shut up.
So it's like, yeah, like. Edmonton Oilers and the Calgary Flames are two of the worst 5 teams in the NHL.
I would much rather be in the Leafs spot than the Oilers spot right now.
Exactly.
Jack Campbell getting waived was, oh my God. I know it was a gamble. It was a gamble on Jack Campbell. He had a limited sample size of being a starter. His stats were okay, especially underlying numbers wise. But for him to get like waived a year and a bit into this 5-year contract. We did say I would rather have Jack Campbell for 5 years at $5 million than Matt Murray for 2 years at 4.6. We were insanely wrong there, but that was because Matt Murray just went on LTIR and just sailed off into the sunset. Like if you still had Matt Murray right now, you would have had to get rid of TJ Brody to be able to keep Wool on the roster, or you lost Samsonov.
I lost sleep over that the Matt Murray stuff, and I was very relieved when the news came out about him. I shouldn't say I was relieved. That's not very good, but like I hope he's doing okay. I hope his body's doing okay, but like cap wise, I feel a lot better. I feel bad for saying that. I'd never want to I'm never happy when a guy gets hurt. But
yeah. So in terms of what is wrong with the Leafs, defensively, just an entire mess. You need McCabe coming back is a blessing, but you still need a second pairing right defenseman. If it's Giordano Klingberg on the third pairing limited role, like maybe I'd like to see if you scale back the minutes, if that could work, maybe, and like shelter them a bit more. And then the fourth line sucks. You need something up to upgrade that.
So if we were to get a guy like Zadorov, if we were to get a guy like Tanev, what is on the way out? You got to think it's Klingberg, no?
To make money work, yeah.
Right? That's the only thing that makes sense here, right? So, okay.
That was curious. But like Klingberg's not an asset. He's a negative right now. You have to pay to get rid of him.
I disagree with that. I wholeheartedly.
How?
Wholeheartedly.
What would Calgary do with Klingberg?
You could flip Klingberg. Klingberg
what?
got dealt for assets last year, making double the amount he makes right now.
Yeah, it was closer to a decent season last year. So you could say, oh, half a season in Anaheim, the worst team in the league. All right, that's a wash. He was playing on the Toronto Maple Leafs, who made the playoffs last year, who've made the playoffs the last 7 years, and he's looked horrible.
He's looked horrible defensively. I'm not going to lie, but he's looked very good offensively, though. He's looked really good offensively. Yeah, he's had like some fumbles.
But how many teams are looking for a one-dimensional offensive defenseman?
Every team at the deadline
for $4 million and you can't hold money back. Every team is looking for a $4 million one-dimensional defenseman.
I think you can sell Calgary on taking him. And I think Calgary would be able to flip him at the deadline and get assets for him.
I have a hard time,
especially if it makes money.
Take him for free.
If it makes money work and they like the deal that they like the package that they're getting from the Leafs, they would do it. And I don't think they would, because again, it's a 1-year deal, right? You're gonna have to match salary somewhere. Like what the Leafs are expected to just cap dump, like literally just get it's either that or get rid of either Tyler Bertuzzi or get rid of Max Domi or get rid of. I don't know how you move David Kampf, who makes $2.4 million over the next 4 years. How do you move? I don't know how you move. I don't even think moving Calle Yarncrook will be enough, who makes 2.1 for the next 3 years.
All those,
right?
A lot of the next option have been playing well.
Yeah, so that's literally the only option. So, I mean, maybe I just don't think. Maybe people can tell us if you think that John Klingberg would be you'd have to pay to move him. I don't think he would be someone you would have to pay to move. But
I think it would be tough, but that's where we defer. Anyways, on the positive side, I did want to get into this a little bit this week. Last week, we were asking all these questions. Yeah, you said something?
I was just going to say, before we get into our positives, we have to let everyone know about the positive things that the Raycon company is doing. It may be too early to start decorating for the holidays, but it's never too early to start your holiday shopping. Why not take care of it right now before the crowds and packed calendars make shopping an absolutely total nightmare, especially when you can get some of the best deals of the season well before Black Friday. You can shop Raycon products right now and save up to 50% off because their early bird Black Friday special is going on right now. You heard us talk about Raycon before. You heard about us talk about their earbuds, their products. They have a water filter, which is kind of crazy to me. They're kind of a jack of all trades. You should check out their website. Raycon is the first made a name for themselves in the audio space with their products like the everyday earbuds, known for delivering high quality and thoughtful features like a 32-hour battery life and a perfect in-ear fit for all-day wear and lasting comfort. And over this past year, they've expanded. They have their Raycon Home, Raycon Power Tech. Their 5-star reviewed Magic 180 cable allows you to charge iOS, micro USB, and Type-C devices 8 times faster with 100-watt power delivery. They have their faucet filter. Ultra filters the water in your tap against chlorine and heavy metals. It's a must-have for ensuring the water you use to wash your face, brush your teeth is clean, and actually it's clean. So like I mentioned, that faucet filter is some crazy stuff here. Raycon is known for delivering high quality and thoughtful features at half the price of other premium tech brands. It's no wonder their products have racked up tens of thousands of 5-star reviews. To get everyone in the holiday shopping spirit a bit early, Raycon is currently offering 20% off everything on their site with select products, up to 50% off. You heard me right. That is 50% off. So beat the crowds. Save now. Trust me, you do not want to miss out on Raycon's early Black Friday sale. Hurry now. Go to buyraycon.com/THPN to get 20 to 50% off site-wide. That is buyraycon.com/THPN to score up to 50% off Raycon products. buyraycon.com/THPN. All right.
Let's get I was reading something that just came across my desk, we'll call it.
I love that.
Asked if he's concerned about Klingberg's play, Sheldon Keefe said yes. What needs to change specifically? We need to protect him better. Essentially, we need to move him down the lineup. He was also pretty critical of the Leafs defensively. I'm paraphrasing, but he was mentioning, we talk about the guys who score and put up big numbers, but we don't talk about what they give up. I'm wondering if that's the Domi line. simply because they've scored the past 2 games, yes, but they've also given up goals the past 2 games as well. So, that quote there doesn't.
That
I don't
quote,
know. Are the teams like? Is the team listening to this guy? Have they tuned him out? Like the defensive, he said it was a bit of everything, bit of individual, bit of the structure, bit of guys staying on course.
That quote sounds like someone who's like 1 foot out the door, in my opinion.
He sounds like he said he's. It said in there somewhere. I'm paraphrasing. This is horrible journalism, but I don't really care. We're far from journalists on this show, but he was saying the concern is very high.
We broke you broke the Victor Mete signing, so
yeah, that was.
Anyways,
if you also look, I think I mentioned this before. Tyler Ennis, I tweeted that one first before Pagnotta, so
that's hilarious.
Like a whole 12 hours before, so suck that. That was years ago. That was 2019, 18, something like that. But anyways.
Yeah, so what were you saying he was saying, though? Sorry.
Essentially, the team's defense sucks. Wow, thanks. Yeah. And it's not just individual guys. It's a bit of structure. It's a bit of individual. It's a little bit of everything. But the defensive concern from Sheldon Keefe is very high right now. I thought like the third line generating more offensively and being first on pucks was great. I thought Max Domi looked better at center. There was more room for him.
Yes.
To work with the puck. He was making smarter plays. He was able to do more. I mean, they had 2 points. They've 2 goals in the last 2 games. And that was a lot more than what you could say from the third line from the previous games, right? Like there was that one game in Tampa, they had 2 points, right? But that was, as I mentioned, one of them was a complete fluke. So there was that. Like Nick Robertson looks pretty good, I would say. He hasn't played very, very much over the past 2 games, but I was really happy with the amount of times that he was able to be first on the puck, win puck battles with his speed, be able to start the cycle. He was playing everything, like everything was playing to his strengths and making the simple play. And tonight his goal was gross. And after that goal, I thought the energy, like you were at the game, the crowd energy was good. Everything was rolling. Everything was going in the right direction. Like what happened?
Honestly, I don't know. John Klingberg happened, I guess. I don't know. That was a nasty goal, by the way. We didn't really get to touch on
Robertson's,
but yeah, the sauce on that from Domi was
his assist gross. The night before. I think if Calle Jarnkrok got an assist on that goal, then Calle Jarnkrok has a 4-game point streak going. So that's pretty nice. But yeah, the sauce from Domi. Well, the sauce was too much. It was the handle from Nick Robertson to be able to get that puck on net in the net.
To be fair, I can see why Domi, why it was too much, because he had to do a lot to get that puck across.
Domi drew a call on that one too.
Oh, really? I didn't even realize that. Wow.
It was a delayed penalty.
Wow.
They drew that line drew 2 penalties. Well, they drew 2 penalties and had a goal, but one of them was off a delayed penalty.
Yeah.
So
I didn't even get to see that. But that's awesome. This is so quick. Let me just wrap up the Keefe comment that very calculated by him though, because he said, what did he say? He said something about we talk about the guys scoring goals, but not the guys doing it the other way or something along the lines like that, being scored against. Well, coincidentally enough, there were 2 players on the Leafs who didn't get scored on at 5-on-5, and they were Simon Benoit and TJ Brody. So
wow,
very calculated by Sheldon Keefe. Basically, smart of him to say that right now.
Well, didn't get scored on, but he was in the penalty box for one of them.
Yes, but I'm saying I guess he said that because as a way to just also once again call out the entire team that it's not just about offense, it's about defense too. Maybe, I don't know. Again, like I said, that seems like it's a guy who's one foot maybe potentially out the door. I don't know. But I want to talk about positive stuff.
Never mind. Max Domi was on for 2 goals against at 5-on-5. Only 1-4. And then Nick Robertson 1-1. Calle Jarnkrok 1-1 as well.
1-1. Yeah.
Interesting.
Klingberg was on for 4 against.
Thanks.
Which is crazy. But
was he good though?
He's good offensively. He's on the ice for 1 goal offensively. That's beautiful. But no, let's touch on the positive stuff though.
Okay.
Quickly, because I touched on it a bit earlier. I think we potentially the defensive game is not there yet. Feel like that I'm bullish on that coming with time, but I feel like offensively we finally have it what feels like a top 9. That's something to be positive about. Our third line finally looks good. Something to be positive about. You mentioned this to me. I was like looking at the numbers for the second line. They're like Bertuzzi on that second line is fantastic. Tonight. Yeah, they've been great.
Awesome. Bertuzzi
first line is goal, buzzing. Like,
and you could tell from the drop of the puck, it wasn't he's more engaged. No, this guy hasn't not been trying, whatever. What he was doing was just making the simple play. Like I noticed there was one play. He, to me right now, seems to be trying to fit everything through dangerous areas. And he's trying to find the most dangerous pass to put it through. Those are low percentage and it often kills the cycle. Sometimes you just have to make the simplest play. And from probably not his first puck touch, because I missed the first couple of shifts, but the first time I saw him touch the puck in the first period, it was the simple play and just get it on net. And then that started another cycle. And then when you add these simple plays, more simple plays to the fact that he wins a lot of puck battles, that's a lot more time in the offensive zone. And that's going to lead to more goals, right? So
yeah,
I thought him just like not trying to do too much when he gets the puck, that felt a lot better tonight from that line. And they had a goal and they had another, I would say 3 chances to go along with it. How about John Tavares, though? 2 big face-off wins that ended up in the back of the net. That was nice.
Yep. That's very nice. One on the penalty power play, excuse me, as well. I mean, I like that is this to me should be the story of, and it's not going to be because people are going to people want negativity and people, I don't know. Like,
it's not about wanting negativity. The defense sucked to another.
No, they
played all right tonight, minus 5 shifts, right?
Yeah,
but they did. But the defense overall, even outside of those 5 shifts, the defense was horrible tonight. You gave up a 5 spot against Tampa. You gave up another 5 spot against Buffalo, plus an empty netter for 6.
But to be fair, like we kind of talked about this before the season, and maybe we didn't touch on it enough. But like the guys we sent out were very good defensively, but the guys we brought in are really good offensively. That's what's going to happen when you do stuff like that in the offseason. On top of that, we're rolling, no offense to William Lagesson and Simon Benoit. Like those are our 5-6 right now, basically. So it's like Mark Giordano as well. I love and respect Mark Giordano. He's 40 years old. He's playing in our top 4. That just doesn't, he shouldn't, like, he's good. He's not, I'm not saying he's poor. He's playing poorly, but like that just doesn't need to happen. We shouldn't be having him up there. It's like, that's part of the problem as well. And you know what? You're right. Like we do need to be better defensively, but this should have been partially expected because think about all the forwards who went out and think about all the forwards we brought in. So defensively right now as a unit, our forwards who we brought in are not as good defensively as the ones that left. And defensively, like for our defense,
yes,
we're missing 2 defensemen.
That's so yeah. Okay. So that is true. That's a good point. So that's the perfect storm right now. You're missing 2 top 4 defensemen right now.
Yes.
Your third line is no longer Pierre Engvall, Ilya Mikheyev, David Kampf shutdown line. It's Nick Robertson offensive. It's Max Domi offensive. And Calle Jarnkrok, who is just he's
along
just,
for the does both.
He's just
I guess,
a standard okay player, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that definitely does make sense and should have been more expected by me, especially losing 2 top 4 defensemen on this streak. The issue also, like just the fourth line, though, that's inexcusable. I don't give a shit what your idea was.
No, that it's been bad. Ryan Reeves sucks. Like there's no other way to put it. David Kampf has been horrible.
Sucks. Like,
yeah,
it's unplayable at this point.
Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. But that is like such an easy fix, I think, though, and it could potentially be an easy fix within our own system too. Even though Pontus Holmberg kind of looks like shit.
It's not a good fix, though.
Yeah.
Like maybe we give Bobby some minutes. Okay, you get McMahon, you get Holmberg, and you get Alex Steves. Is that a real NHL line, though, together?
Nope. You're right.
All due respect to Steve. Steves is playing great in the AHL. Bobby McMahon is still coming back from injury. Pontus Holmberg is up and down. I don't know. He's okay. He's maybe okay-ish. I don't know. Right?
Yeah.
But, yeah, they're definitely going to need some moves to be made. Guys need to get healthy. Yes. Moves need to be made. And certain guys need to wake the fuck up.
Yes. Positives, though, our top 4 best players look like our top 4 best players. Still not missing a beat. Still not missing a beat. Still not missing a step. Tyler Bertuzzi, like we said before, even though people were for some reason bagging on him for like not trying or like I don't know.
People are going nuts on him this week.
I think people also have a different. I don't know who the people were who are going nuts on him. Maybe they like I don't know. Maybe people just had a different like thought or idea of what Tyler Bertuzzi was going to be to this team and just hasn't. Like just his style.
It's because he's not a good skater. It wasn't a good start. Like let's get real. He was
of course not.
As we mentioned last episode, he was doing a lot of little good things, but it wasn't equaling up to production or like a lot of noticeable chances.
Yeah.
Because I think he was trying to fit too many passes. He was trying to be too perfect. He was trying to create something on every single play. I think with this, like with him simplifying what he's doing and simplifying his game with the puck. And, trying to get more prolonged possessions that we're going to start to see more production and such. Right. But yeah, I was getting so sick of the Tyler Bertuzzi bashing because it was just so dumb.
Yeah. I'm just not going to pay attention to that. But again, I just wanted to highlight that as a positive that I think he's been playing well this year. And then on top of that,
Max Domi started to play better this week too.
We're like this. We were like, now we're going up.
But it's 2 games.
Plateau. Now we're going.
It's 2 games. You're going to be exposed to a lot of different things as a small sample size. Let's check off this week and it was good offensively. I mean, still being -1 is not great.
That's the biggest thing though. To me, Max Domi in the first 10 games looked like a fish out of water on the wing at center. He looks much like. It was like a noticeable shift in his game that he looks a lot better at center. Defensively, again, he can work on it
too.
And then I'm still going to go with the positives. Nick Robertson, like, let's go. Like, there's a lot to be happy about here. Lot to be happy about here. He looks like an NHL player. He looks good. He looks healthy. So I'm happy right now. I'm positive. Bad losses. It's only game 13. We're going to win a lot of games. We're going to lose some games too. Cannot win them all. And I do not think there is no chance that this team comes anywhere close. There's no chance this team comes close to the wild card, let alone miss the playoffs. So maybe we can clip this 3 months from now, 4 months from now, and people will laugh at me. But I don't think there's I'm not worried until like we're 60 games in the season and we are like we have to basically win out to make the playoffs. Like that's when I'll be worried. Because, like, we've been there before where it's been, like, 40 games, and it's like, we're not in a playoff spot right now. Like, no. Then we go off on a heater the last 40 games, and we end up second in the place in the division like we do every freaking year. So, like, I'm still not worried about it. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm conditioned. Maybe I'm numb to it. Like, but
I think you're misremembering the last 2 years because they were fully in playoff spots 40 games in. And then they went on heaters in November. And then what
went down.
Take him off. And then tailed off whatever a little bit here and there. But
anyways, I'm not worried.
All right.
I'm positive.
All right. So 2 big games this weekend, Friday and Saturday, I believe against the Flames and the Canucks. Don't quote me on that. Look it up.
Looking it up right now. But if Flames again, Flames on the Friday. It says tomorrow on my computer because it's technically Thursday right now. And then Flames versus Canucks Friday, Saturday game. And then we got a long break. Is that supposed to be that week break that every team? Oh, the Sweden game.
And then it's Friday, November 17th in Sweden at Avicii Arena. So Jake McCabe's hopefully coming back soon. He seems to be inching his way back. And hopefully that helps to solve some issues. Hopefully this was a wake-up call defensively and some forwards, I posted 2 ugly screenshots where it's just 4 guys fucking with their dicks in their hands staring at the fucking puck. Just disgraceful nonsense. Oh, God. I can't. It's a long season.
It's a long season. Just keep reminding yourself. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Buckle in.
All right. Is that all you got on the docket?
That's it for me.
Perfect. Thanks, everyone, for listening.
Go Leafs, go.